Hey everybody, this is Jim at SP500chart.com. It's about 5 o'clock on January 9th, 2014. Let me read this to you, then we'll get right down to the chart. The website and the video are for educational purposes only, and nothing stated at the site or in the video is intended to be used as investment advice. I can draw lines on charts, but you have to draw your own conclusions from your own research and make investment decisions that are suitable for your personal financial situation. I'm not a licensed financial professional. I'm just a guy who draws lines on charts. Okay, we're looking at a 15-minute chart, and I have to be honest with you, this looks like a market that is not sure what it wants to do. And I'm definitely can feel that as someone who's trying to figure out what the market wants to do. Today we broke out just briefly over this neckline that's purple. Let's move in a little bit. Looked like we were going to break out over this, and I was thinking, yes, our little inverted head and shoulders pattern is going to go, and we're going to get up to 1855 or 1854, somewhere about there. And then we get up to 1843, and then it just gives up 13 points, approximately 12.5 points, very quickly, as if to say, no, we're not going to do that. And then we come down, and now I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe this is the move. We're going to get this nice back test down around 1820, which would at the same time satisfy our breakdown from this triangle pattern between these two blue lines, which took place on the 6th. We did not get down to the 1820 target. And I'm thinking, well, now we're going to come down and get down to this target, maybe even back test this line, and that's a great spot to go long. And right about when I was thinking that might happen, the S&P decides to put on a little rally and get back. Not a whole bunch of what it gave up, but regain about 55% of it. And now I'm thinking, okay, now we're going to head back up and we're going to test this neckline again, and then we come back down. Then we at least rally back to about neckline territory. But whereas a lot of the inverted head and shoulders patterns that we'd seen over the past year or so would be left shoulder, head, then a breakout, this one's left shoulder, head, right shoulder, right shoulder, right shoulder, right shoulder, right shoulder, right shoulder. You know, maybe we ought I'm joking here, okay? But maybe we ought to count these up and see if that's where our missing right shoulders all ended up in one place over the past 3 days. I'm just kidding. I'm not serious. But I'm not kidding when I tell you that we just don't seem to be seeing a clear sense of direction right now with the S&P. I will say that as we look at a couple of these trend lines, you can see that the degree that we got out over this neckline was about the same degree that we came down underneath this line where we would expect some support. And these lines have been, a lot of these short-term trend lines have been a little wishy-washy. They've not been holding up extremely well. There's been some fuzz factor in all of this, and that's okay. Sometimes if you try to be too perfect, and you say, for example, well, if the S&P could just get over 1841.36, then we know we're going. You can't do that. And lately we've been seeing little fudgy moves by 2 or 3 points, getting sort of out of bounds. But I gotta be frank with you and tell you where we sit today. I think I'm going to stick with the same thing that we've been looking at, and that is that purple line as a neckline. Again, if we can get over that with gusto, not just, the open over that was maybe, I don't want to say that was suspect, but, opens can be a little funky. Let's be honest. And it just didn't, it didn't do the right thing. We came up just a little bit, and then just this line didn't work. And you'll remember we moved this trend line just a little bit, and if we want to play it a little bit safer, maybe instead of leaving it right here, maybe we'll take these last two peaks and see if maybe they line up a little bit better. Matter of fact, we could maybe even take the last three, here, here, and here. But now we're starting to get something that's not an inverted head and shoulders pattern. If we move this line here, now we're starting to get what may be something of a channel or a slightly rising wedge. So I'll be honest with you, I don't know what the right thing to do is right now. I'm going to stick with this. We'll let this be kind of our resistance line for now, because that at least lines up closer with the last three, at least with three of the last four efforts to get above this line. I would love to have seen this be perfectly horizontal, because that's such an easy read. But guys, again, it just stuck kind of in this same range that we've been in really almost since, with a little variation. I want to say we've definitely been in this range all year long, since the first trading day on the 2nd showed some weakness. It keeps looking like it wants to firm up, but it just hasn't really done that yet. Let's zip out here on a 30-minute chart. And this really doesn't help me a whole bunch. All I can do from this is remind you that, hey, we did get our target when we got that tag up here at about 1848. That's great, but now it just looks a bit like it's trying to sort things out. And I think either one of the two things we've been looking at could still happen. We could either rally above this line and get on up to the mid 1850s, maybe even as high as this brown line up here around 1860 or a little higher, or we could just as easily, out of this consolidation here, break down and come down and test our support, and possibly even get down to this apex level from our little descending wedge pattern. So guys, I hate it when I have to do a video and I just kind of throw my hands up in the air and say, I don't know. But that's the truth. I don't know. I do think we are still going to see new highs early in 2014. I'm not that concerned about. This is not a situation where we're looking at the chart and we're trying to say, are we going to remain bullish with a 100-point move up, or are we going to get a confirmed pattern that shows us we need to go down 8%? Nothing like that at all. I think the question really is, are we going to get up into the mid-1850s soon? Or do we need to come down and gather a little bit of strength down in the lowish 1800s before we would see such a move? I believe that move is going to happen. It's just a matter is 18. Where did we get down to back on the 6th? Is 1823 low enough to set up the next leg up? Or do we need to get down to 1815, 1810, something like that? I honestly cannot tell you. But both of these cases still lead to, I believe, a new high in the S&P that we should be hitting, I believe, January and February. So guys, there's your video for January 9th, 2014. Yes, I'm punting for right now on the short-term call. But I see nothing yet that tells us that our long-term situation is different, that our intermediate term situation is different. The real question right now is just really in the short term. So guys, let's hang with it. See if we get a little clarification on the 10th or maybe early next week. Hey, thanks for watching. Thank you for your support.